Hello friends, welcome to this video session. My name is Siddharth Bhattacharya, and this session we were supposed to conduct for a college in India. Unfortunately, the session got cancelled, but since I have prepared some content, so I thought of why not share it with the larger audience. So today I'm going to speak about some of the essential skills that anyone should have to navigate this digital world. And speaking about these skills, this is all about the experience that I have gathered during the last 17 years of my professional career. A lot of learnings that I've got, I wanted to share with you all. I hope you will gain some value add from this session. Although this was primarily targeted for college students, but I feel that the content is quite generic enough, and no matter whatever path in your career you are in today, this will definitely have some value add for everyone. So hope you enjoy this session, and definitely I will release it in my LinkedIn. So definitely I would expect review comments from you, how you liked it, and anything, any comments or any other additions that you feel that will be required. So having said that, let's progress with the session. So before I jump on to the skills, I want to kind of set some context. And this context is primarily towards the world we are currently in, and what are the enterprises and the enterprises that, or rather I would say the situation that the enterprises are going through, the major challenges or the major problem areas that I feel that the enterprises today are encountering. So the number one, and I believe that is the most challenging one, is about uncertainty. And there has been a growing uncertainty over the last few years as well. But I think post this pandemic, the uncertainty has kind of quadrupled, or it has increased exponentially. So today, in this very uncertain world, it is very difficult to plan ahead. Previously, I would say organizations would have long-term goals, medium-term, and short-term goals. But what I see is that even planning for the next quarter has become a challenge. So definitely, it has a big uh, bottleneck for the organizations that they need to cross over. The second important item, and I believe organizations were experiencing it for now quite some time, it is around the technology disruption. So in my opinion, I would say that there is a huge advancement in the technology area. A lot of areas have come into picture, but organizations per se, they are unable to cope up with that level of change. You need to keep in mind that technology will be always ahead of the curve, but it is important to also note that how much those technologies can be adopted in the enterprises so that it brings business value. There are definitely organizations which are ahead of this curve. They have benefited from this technology advancement, but I believe there is a lot to catch, and definitely there is a struggle for the enterprises to move or shift towards those technology changes for their own benefit. The last challenge, I believe people might argue, uh, there is a lot of talent, no doubt about that. The number of talented people have grown, but what has been important is that to identify that whatever skills that those talented people have, are those skills are fit for what the enterprises are looking for. I think that is where the whole gap exists, or the whole challenge, whether my skills are relevant or whether they are the right skilled people what the enterprises are looking for. So it is very important that getting skill is one thing, getting the right skill is another thing, and there lies the challenge. So we as individuals, or the students, or even people who are studying in schools, I think there has to be a realization that whatever we are learning, we are upskilling and ourselves, are we able to kind of correlate it, or are we able to provide some value with those skills to the enterprises? I think that is a big question that people need to think through, understand, analyze, and then act upon. So I think with this context in mind, I think some skills is pretty much kind of become essential for any one of us who are in this market. So let's see what are those skills, and what I, based on my experience, what is it that is required to kind of cultivate those skills, practice those skills, and bring it live. I think that is what is the important part of, or the intent of this session. So let's go ahead. Okay, so the number one skill I think that I have, I'm highlighting is about curiosity. So it's kind of a no-brainer that since human beings are curious, the whole human civilization has progressed. So starting from the steam age to the iron age to the machine age, and now in the world of information technology, and then moving to the world of artificial intelligence and whatnot. So it's all the result of being curious. But uh, my point here is that yes, that is definitely uh, a product of curiousness, but how you can improve on this curiosity. So I think people might have some abstract ideas. They have their own individual mindset. Okay, I am doing some investigation, some research, and something. That's fine. You can always do that, and it is definitely required. But from a day-to-day standpoint, how can you be more curious, and through curiosity, how you can add value? I think that is where my intent is. So the number one element to build your curiosity is to ask questions. So no matter whatever role in the professional world you are playing, whether as a business analyst or an architect or a product owner, doesn't matter. Or if you are a student studying in the schools or in a college, whatever it is, uh, asking the questions relevant to the context is a very critical skill. It is very, very important. So to do that, I think you need to do some effort from your own side. You need to do some homework, because just asking question without the context, without the understanding, I don't think it would be helpful. So whenever you are asking something, you need to kind of build upon whatever is already said. That is, I hope you are getting the point here. So it has to be contextual, it has to add value, and whoever you are asking, you have to make someone to think rather than just to give you an answer. So you have to ask that level of question. It is always what is the question that you are leading to, and why you are asking, and what is the value add of that answer. So definitely, and I also feel that people have that fear factor, that especially I've seen that if it is a bigger group, they refrain to ask question. So guys, please don't do that. If you feel your question has a value to add, please ask that question. Just remove all fears. It doesn't matter, as long as it is relevant, as long as it makes people to think. I would suggest go ahead and ask the question. The second aspect of curiosity is about having a bigger picture. So a lot of times I've seen, even when I was in my early days in my career, the focus was on one's own scope of work, and people used to limit. So what I felt is it is very good to begin with. Definitely, you should focus on your own area of work and try to do that as diligently as possible. But as you grow, as you gain more experience, having a bigger picture is a very important skill set. So it can be in any role, doesn't matter. So having an understanding of the overall ecosystem that you are working, having an understanding of the business processes, how an enterprise is making money, what are the key areas or challenges that my business is facing, having that overall picture. So no matter what role you are, the role doesn't matter. I would say whether you are doing a testing role, whether you are doing a assurance role, having that bigger picture of the enterprise is of very critical and very key component for your own growth. So always have that larger picture and have that curiosity or hunger to learn more about your ecosystem. The same thing happens when you are a student as well. So typically, I think if any chapter, any particular area somebody is trying to explain, try to correlate it with other learnings or other areas and see how that part kind of impacts the other areas. I think the more you are able to correlate, the more your learning will be, the more you will be more contextual, and the more value add you can bring to that particular work. So, big picture is a definitely yes. And the earlier you are able to adopt to this mindset, the better it is. The last item in this area, I would suggest that nowadays, I think with this technology disruption, there are plethora of items to focus on, whether it is AI, whether it is data science, whether it is IoT, blockchain. I think it is now inundated with so many technology that people are struggling what to do, where to focus, what not to do. My simple suggestion here would be whether you are a student, whether you are already in your professional career, whether you're 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, doesn't matter. I think years of experience is just another number. And so learning can be anytime. So learning doesn't stop. So my suggestion would be focus on the areas of your interest, which you feel that interest you, that ignites your mind. Go into depth. Having said that, have a knowledge, a broader knowledge of the other elements as well. So there has to be a little bit fine balance between the breadth and the depth of your knowledge. Obviously, you cannot go in depth of each and every area, and I would not recommend, I would strongly recommend go in depth of any particular area, master it, then move on to a different area to go in depth. But the thing is that you should have at least some high level knowledge of some adjacent areas. So having this breadth and depth in control, in balance, is a critical element. So be curious, be always open to learn, ask questions that adds value, don't fear, and have this bigger picture of the enterprise. Try to build upon that skill. I think the more you show your eagerness, the more you gather, the better you will. So I think curiosity is a skill set. Uh, Everybody is curious, but how you are putting that into practice, I think that makes a difference. Going forward, okay, so this skill set, I think this is a personal favorite of mine, and I would give the highest weightage to this skill set. And I've given a quotation of Simon Sinek. He's a global leader. a motivator. I would say he's a fabulous guy. I've gone through a lot of his lectures, and all those are available in YouTube. Just kind of you can do a simple search with his name, and you will get. And guys, trust me, if you spend some time on his way of thinking, on his attitude towards the enterprise, leadership, the qualities that one should possess, it is absolutely magical. And he inspires me a lot. So that's why I have given his quotation. And there is a video, 20 minutes video on empathy. He has kind of beautifully articulated that why you should be empathetic towards others, and why this is a very critical skill to become a leader. And everybody aspires to become a leader. There is nothing wrong about it. You should, but you should also know that to become a leader, what are those critical skills you should possess. It is not only the hard skills, but the finer soft skills, which is very much crucial to have that to become a leader. So yeah, guys, follow him. I would say you will learn a lot, and it would be a tremendous value add to your professional life as well as to your personal life. So, what is empathy all about? So, empathy is nothing but being compassionate. So by default, human beings have that emotional feeling for others. That is a pretty good important aspect, and that's why we are kind of different animals in the animal kingdom and the other rest of the animals. I would say that other animals do have empathy, but that the level of empathy that they have and what human beings have, there is a difference. So having said that, it is all about understanding others. There is the need to the urge to feel for others, to understand the pain areas, the challenges that the others are passing through, and how you can help them. So, no matter what position you are working or whether you are a student, it doesn't matter. You can show empathy, whatever state you are in. So, the feeling has to be there, the urge has to be there. And a lot of times I have seen that people take a judgmental call without even understanding the mind of the others or the experiences of the others, that what they are going through. And I think that is pretty bad. Um, and I've seen a lot of examples in my 17 years of my journey, and I felt that the approach has to change, and it is a very critical element. Not only you as an individual, but overall from a society standpoint also, we need to have that empathy for others. And what it takes that you need to spend time and think for others, which is very valuable. Unless and until you do that, it is not possible to be empathetic for others. So you have to sacrifice. It is a critical element to be empathetic. You need to spend time, you need to think, you need to discover, you need to uh, analyze that how others are going through. Is there any challenge in their personal lives, or is there anything that they are unable to uh, get because of some XY reasons? You need to investigate, you need to spend time, you need to discuss, and you have to be compassionate to the others. I think great leaders have shown this, and this is a key trait. uh, Believe me or not, if you can inculcate it within yourselves, nobody can stop you. People will simply make you as a role model, will admire you. a very critical skill to have, to practice, and then to implement. Okay, moving ahead. The next one is about all about team building. I believe. I think this is a skill which I believe has been there for till when mankind evolved from the day one. Without team mindset, you can't achieve much. And in today's world, this has become kind of a no-brainer. With the kind of disruptions, with the kind of innovations and all, I think you cannot be an expert in each and every element that is required by uh, an enterprise. So team collaboration is a must and a must and a must. Sometimes I believe people do have a focus on their own careers. They think that, yeah, if I want to show something to the management, then I need to do it all myself, so that I gain that mileage. But frankly speaking, when uh, enterprise goals are there, it is all about that big goals, common goals to achieve, rather than the individual goals. You should have individual goals, you should have individual aspirations. I'm not saying that is bad to have. Definitely you should have, but the priority should be on those common goals to achieve, rather than only on the individual goals or the individual aspirations that you are striving to achieve. That's where the leadership qualities gets. So one who is a great leader, he will always have that common goal in mind, rather than his own personal goals, and that's how they differentiate from the others. They have that skill set, they possess that. And also another aspect I have seen, and nothing against anyone, but I've seen that a lot of people are very qualified, they are very uh, um, technologically enabled, they do possess a tremendous amount of skill set, but they fear to share. I don't know why, but that fearness is there. And yeah, means for me, if I know something even to a small extent, I would love to share it. And I would say that the more you share, the more you will learn. This is true, and I personally have experienced it, and it is a great way to learn. The more you share, the more people will learn about you, and more people will also be willing to share with you their feelings, their understanding, their learnings. And that's how, as a team, you grow. And that's what collaboration is all about. And finally, yes. So, as a team, if you are working as a team, it has to be a collective responsibility. Um, Understand that everyone has his own responsibilities and accountabilities, but when it is a collaborative work, uh, I don't think pinpointing anyone for any failure is not the right way. It is the team that is responsible for the failure and the success. Guys, I think collaboration, I don't think without collaboration anyone can sustain. And the more the world is becoming more and more digital, the more you need to collaborate, the more you need to have that mindset that, okay, let's work in teams and have that common goal in mind and work for that. The next skill set, I would say that this is more about how you approach a problem. This terminology, design thinking, is there for some time now. When I graduated from my engineering days, it was not there so as a prominent one. but as a concept it might be there, but the terminology got more traction uh, over the years. And now I think it is definitely a key skill set to possess. So my thinking is that it is also correlated with the skill set of empathy. So when I asked to be empathetic, that is a broader empathy. But in case of design thinking, the concept is more about when you are trying to solve a problem, you need to understand from the stakeholder's point of view who is encountering that problem. So that is the underlying philosophy. So don't just uh, keep that problem statement constrained. Think that this problem is encountered by whom, who is your stakeholder, who is the user or who is the customer. Understand, put yourself on their shoes and understand the pain areas. I think that is the crux of this whole design thinking is all about. So it is all about user centric. And when you understand the problem from their that point of view, you can come up with a better solution. I think that is the whole uh, crux of this design thinking. And a lot of times I've seen that people have come up with great ideas, great solutions, but it is very important, does it addresses the pain of the user? If it is not, no matter what world class solution you are bringing to the table, it is of no use. So it is very important defining the problem before you do the solution. And finally, yes, there can be a number of solution paths to address that problem. It is always important to build, start small, create some prototype, validate it before you do it in scale. This is a kind of tried and tested approach. And there is another skill which I will talk about, creativity. I think it also follows a similar pattern, but I wanted to highlight this skill in particularly because design thinking approach, people only think that it is only applicable for people who are building user interfaces and where user experience is of great relevance. But I feel that try to apply it in any kind of problem. Don't just kind of limit or constrain this approach only to those kind of use cases. It can be applicable to any problem that you are trying to solve. So be open, try to inculcate this thinking. I Because it's not that in day one or day two you will be able to think in this way. It is a change in mindset, it is a change in approach. So put that into context of your problem, of your solution, and see whether does it solve the purpose or not. So design thinking is very critical. Try to apply it for anything that you are trying to solve. Okay, the next skill set I believe is another very critical one. With this digital disruption that is happening and the technological innovations that are happening, uh, one has to be a lifelong learner. So because whatever knowledge that you gather in the school or in the college, uh, if I would say before 20 years back, I would say that at that time it would have been sufficient with that knowledge to cope up with these changes. But with the current situation, the world we are in, it is not kind of you stop learning and then you can carry on with that learning for the rest of your career. It is not that world anymore. You have to learn every day, every day, every day. So learning is a continuous part of this journey. And the thing is that how you approach this learning also is also very critical. So I think one has to kind of apply the agile methodology here. So although we know that agile typically people think that okay, in a typical software development life cycle, we can apply agile. But no, you can also apply agile in your learning path. So my suggestion here would be that, yeah, pick up the areas that you want to learn, you want to grow, you want to work, keep it learning, but at the same time try to apply that learning in some real world business problems, and try to showcase it that what value you are able to bring it. So it's not only learning, but it is also learning and applying. You might say that, yeah, if I don't get a job in that particular area, I cannot apply that and showcase. I would beg to differ. You can do that, because whatever domain, whatever area you are learning, there are means available today, and a lot of free means are available today to showcase that learning. So I would say learn, apply. Don't just only focus on the learning part. Learning is essential, but also try to apply that learning in some real world problem, and see that whether it is adding any value, whether that learning is adding any value to that problem and solving that problem. I think that is a very critical aspect, and that's where this agile mindset comes into picture. In agile world also, you break up the entire business problem into chunks of problem, try to solutionize that particular uh, area of the problem, and then figure it out whether it is adding any value or not. There is an incremental additional value that you develop when you go through this agile life cycle. The same you should try to apply while you are in your learning journey. That level of agility you need to bring in this path. And one important aspect I see, and personally I also felt that people think that if they are learning, then that will give a result. Sometimes it happens that it may not yield the result or the outcome that you were expecting. So don't get disheartened. It happened to me as well, and it sometimes bit difficult to overcome that challenge. uh, See, I won't say that the learning has gone into waste. Every learning has its own value, uh, but you need to change or course correct. You need to change your path. If you realize that that learning is not been able to give you that edge or that value that you were expecting, so you need to pivot. The underlying concept is all about being agile. Course correct, learn, apply, course correct. That's how it has to be. And if you see nowadays, the educational systems are also getting changed. Lot of Previously, when I passed out from my engineering, the degrees were there. Nowadays, there is a plethora of nano degrees, which are very very short courses. Why do you think this has gone into very relevant, and there is a huge demand for that? Nothing, to bring in agility to your learning, as simple as that. Because uh, you need to think that the technological advancement that is happening and the way it is disrupting, the rate or the acceleration, the the pace with it is changing is phenomenal. And if you think that, okay, I will do some learning over the period of 4 years, and then I will go and seek a job, I think that path or that philosophy may not work in today's world. People might disagree. I'm fine, it is a debatable topic. But the thing is that the amount of change uh, that is happening every year, or rather say every quarter, is phenomenal. Forget 4 years. So by the time you finish that entire journey, uh, I think things might have changed a lot. So there lies the whole concept of agility. So it is a difficult thing to do. uh, it requires a lot of effort, lot of time, a lot of patience. uh, and a very structured approach, methodical approach. But yes, it is a need of the hour. So try to be agile in your learning journey. I think it will definitely yield benefits. Moving on. Okay, so this one I think again is pretty relevant in the world that we are in. And I think there are a lot of quotes made by a lot of people. Data is the new oil, data is that, data is that. I think there is no denial. I think whoever wants to deny, I think they might be in a fool's paradise. But yeah, means without data today, if you want to kind of sustain, it is not possible. Having said that, my suggestion or my recommendation would be that uh, everyone need not be a data scientist or a machine learning engineer or a AI expert, or no, I would not recommend that. If you feel that you are interested in that journey, definitely go for it, but it is not a necessary. What is necessary is to have a data literacy, understanding data, having basic skills of data analysis, and then uh, taking decisions based on that data. I think these are the key skills everybody needs to embrace. Uh, I think people think, yeah, why I should be bothered about data? My role. I don't think I am working in some domain or some particular department. I don't need data, but I think that feeling is going away day by day. Some of the enterprises have already reaped a lot of benefit by harnessing the power of the data, gathering the insights that is hidden within the data. But a lot of enterprises are still to embrace, but they have realized that if they don't do that, they will lose the game. It is extremely critical to be data literate, no matter what position you are holding. If you are doing a very lower level role to the CEO, it is a critical skill to have. And I don't think it is a very tough skill to kind of nurture. If you spend some time, there are lots of online resources, free resources. You can simply go through that. You will be able to gather that what exactly I'm trying to mean by data literacy. I'm not saying you have to be an expert in the data world. Have that um, data literacy in mind. Be data literate. I think that is enough. But you should be. Uh, Without data, you cannot sustain. Okay. The next skill, I believe, it is a very common skill, and there is no denial that communication plays a very critical role uh, in whatever role that you play. Is communication is there everywhere, and it is industry agnostic kind of industry domain role. It plays even in your personal life. Also, communication plays a very critical role. Having said that, I think few things people kind of misses out, or they kind of I would say they ignore. But I think that is where I think the challenge lies. uh, it is not about communicating something to someone. It is the how, the what, and all other elements that makes your communication memorable. I think that art, it is an art of that, how you communicate, how you tell the story, how you captivate your audience. I think that is the major differentiating factor from very normal communication to a wow communication. It is very important, and it is a skill to cultivate. You cannot do that overnight. You have to practice, practice, and practice. uh, to do that, you need to keep your audience in the context. Why your audience, who, no matter whatever, it can be a customer client presentation, it can be a presentation of your project, it can be your day-to-day BAU operational presentation. How can you make it more engaging? How can you make it more innovative? How can you draw your attention of the audience? That is a skill by itself. You need to practice it. You need to learn the art of storytelling. So that is the kind of communication element I am trying to highlight. Another key aspect of communication is that a communication is always two ways. It should not be only one way. So while you want to convey your message to the stakeholders, to the external world, you should also be in a position to listen to others. And I think this is a very, very critical skill. And frankly speaking, lot of our people, lot of the people in the industry, they lack this. So it is not that what you are telling, it is also what others are also trying to communicate to tell you. You should be a listener. You should be an active listener. You should understand what others are trying to tell, what is the message, and respond to that context. So listening is also a skill. People might laugh, but guys, frankly speaking, this is a very critical skill set. A lot of people are lacking, and I have seen lot. People will love to talk, but they don't try to listen. The last one, or the last point in this is, and I believe I would uh, be very blatant here. Uh, Even I have failed, that I have done mistakes in my this over the period of 17 years of my career. So whenever you communicate, I think you should keep your emotions in control. Human beings by nature are emotional, and often based on the interactions that you have with the stakeholders, no matter whatever role you are playing, or even if you are a student, in your student journey as well, you will be interacting with a lot of people. So try to keep the emotions in control. Sometimes I do accept that situations go out of control, and people get hyper, people lose control, and they might that they might the tone gets bit different. But trust me guys, if you lose control, if you become emotional while you are communicating, it is a very, very kind of negative on your part. And there will be very I would say the consequences are not would not be very great. It is my personal experience, and that's why I can suggest you, try to control your emotions. It is difficult, and at times it becomes it is definitely becomes out of your control. But if you practice day in day out in your actual real life scenarios, you can become good at that. So I think those are the key points that I wanted to highlight in communication. It is a very generic skill set, but again, a very critical skill set. People lack certain areas in communication. So try to practice it. You will be good at it. Okay. The next one, creativity. So In general, what I have seen, and even I had that perception also in my earlier uh, days in my career. So people always think by creativity it is something very abstract. It is a feature that only artists should have, or maybe people philosophical in nature who can think beyond the obvious and all those stuff. Guys, frankly speaking, everybody can be creative. So my understanding of creativity is it's more structured approach. It is nothing abstract, and if you follow the approach, uh, I think anybody can be creative. That is the definition that I want to preach here. So ideation is a very key element, and I think in the world that we live in, people are having hundreds and hundreds of ideas. But the key aspect here is that what is that problem that you are trying to solve with this idea. uh, Again, I think the same approach I have highlighted in your design thinking skill, a similar kind of correlated idea is also here. So ideation is good, but ideation without a purpose, without a goal, without an objective is of no use. So the very first important aspect in this journey of creativity is you need to have a goal or an objective clearly articulated before you even jump to the phase of ideation. So it all starts with defining the problem and the objective that you want to achieve. Be very specific while you define that, as specific as possible. The more you keep it at a high level, the higher the chances of failure. The second part, once you have defined that goal and objective, don't again jump to the idea. It is always a trap, and again, it would be a problematic. So once you have defined, you should also do an analysis of the as is. So no matter what kind of problem you are trying to solve, whether it is a social problem, whether it is a problem of the business, whether you are problem trying to solve a problem in your personal area as well, in your personal life as well, if you want to follow this methodology, a structured approach, I think you will get a better value out of that, a better result out of that. Understand the as is, gather as much information, as much data of the as is before even if you jump to your ideations and the solutions. Once you have done this, then figure out what are all the approaches, or what are the ideas, or what are the solutions possible, available for this problem, and then finally select the approach that that may be the best fit for this solution, for this problem, what is most relevant and what is most fitting for the purpose. So it is very critical, guys. So I think a lot of people get confused with this creativity angle, and I have often seen that people saying, hey, I am not very creative, I'm analytical in nature, but I'm not very creative. No, guys, I think that is a very wrong notion that you have. Everybody can be creative if you follow the structure and the methodology. I think that is where people kind of get in the trap. They come up with a lot of ideas, but the problem is, what is that for? An idea without a purpose is of no use. So hope you have got the intent of what I wanted to convey here. Try to apply it, and have a check. You yourself can validate whether it is helping you or not. Okay, so I think till now, whatever skill sets I have highlighted, I think some of the skill sets are pretty common in nature. I don't think that I have highlighted something which is very, very kind of mm, path breaking or something. I don't want to claim that. But yeah, those are very, very critical to have. And it always requires some practice from an individual to kind of imbibe those within themselves. The next two skill sets, I think, I would not say that they are again very new, but I think they have gained importance. Uh, I would say in the last 5 to 10 years, they were there, but not as prominent or as a mandatory skill set, I would say, because there were other means to have or to kind of go through without having these skill sets as such. Even when I did my Masters of Business Administration MBA in a B school, people did highlight it, and they highlighted this becoming as a necessary skill set. But guys, to be very frank and open to you, uh, I somehow felt, yeah, it is good to have, but I didn't much give uh, importance to these two skill sets. But over the period of time, I have realized that it is no more a good to have skill, it is a must have. I will give some background to this. So even I feel that I I have to build upon this. I am not at that stage where I see myself that, yeah, I have these two done very good or very, I'm in that league. But yeah, people who have executed these skill sets, they are definitely doing great. Trust me. And in today's world, these two are kind of mandatory. You cannot it is very difficult to survive without having these two skill sets. It's pretty much important. So one is about the brand building. So basically it is how others perceive you. That is what you as a brand, uh, what people think about you. Are you trustworthy? Do you have an honesty? People can have a faith on you. People, what is that you stand for? So that is your personal brand. And as you know that in this world, the brands which are successful, if you see a lot of successful brands, and if you, and you have seen that they don't do much of marketing, advertising and all, because things have changed. Some 10-15 years back, advertising, marketing and all, although there, I won't say marketing is not there, but it's all about the philosophy of pull now rather than push. So you yourself has to create that brand so that others get pulled towards you, rather you pushing your skill sets or you pushing your resume to others. So that is what I am coming to. So it is more of a pull rather than a push, and it is very, very necessary. It is very, very necessary. Um, uh, I can give you some statistics for every open role that comes in the market. It is kind of a ratio of 1:1,000 or 1:10,000. And in this competitive market, to get a job, even for skilled, experienced resources, trust me, guys, people having 15 years, 18 years, 20 years of experience, it is a tough job. And day by day, it will become even tougher and tougher and tougher. It is very difficult to crack. The market is so competitive in nature. The push mechanism is out of the window. You cannot simply push your resume and think you will get a job. That days are gone. So you need to build your own brand, own image, and you need to pull things rather than push. That is the number one important element. The second element is how you build on your image. So I think the more digital adoption world is going through, and post the pandemic, I think the digital adoption will be exponential in nature. It's already started. It has been, and I think wherever still there were some non-digital elements, I think that also will be going away, and it will be 100% kind of digital. So in this digital world, it is very very important to build your brand in the online domain. So whether you are uh, publishing any article, any research paper, any video, any conversation, whatever it is, mm, there are n number of methods possible, but you have to make a mark in the online world. That is the key. So start building on that, and the earlier you start, the better it is. And I would suggest that not only professionals, but people who are studying in colleges, and why not even schools, have your online image. No one is stopping, and things are easily accessible. It is all free. Utilize it for your own benefit. So it is unnecessary. It is unnecessary. And I can't stress more on that. And finally, I think the focus should be on value creation. So whatever you are trying to showcase to the external world, uh, you should be a bit targeted in your approach. So you should target your target audience in the way that it adds value to them. I think that is should be your key motto. Flooding with things which doesn't add value, I don't think it will add to your brand image. And frankly speaking, it doesn't help. So take your time, think before you publish anything. What are you going to work on? Who is your target audience? What you want people to perceive about you, and then act accordingly. So it is a thorough planning that is required before you jump on your online journey. And once you have done that planning, then work on it and keep on building on it. Uh, I think it will definitely be a booster, and this will be a kind of lifelong activity. One should not stop it. You should keep on building on it. But it is a definite must have. Okay, enough of brand building. Moving on to the next skill. This is the last in my session. Uh, Although this is the last but not the least. And again, I think this is another very, very critical one that you should work upon. And I think the last skill and this skill go kind of hand in hand. Uh, Both kind of complementary to each other. So your online brand image helps to build your network, and vice versa. So building your network also helps in building your brand image. So I think networking is not only about connection, but it is also building a relationship. I think a lot of people make that mistake. So, and LinkedIn is a great platform. I think people are utilizing it, and everyone should utilize. So, uh, but the challenge comes is that it is not only about connection. it is also about having a relationship. And to build a relationship, it requires a lot of effort, time, sacrifice from your side. It doesn't, a relationship cannot be built overnight. So it takes time, and you have to have that patience, perseverance, and a constant effort to build that relationship. So focus on that. uh, and oftentimes I've seen that even people connect with me, and they reach out for me for job opportunities and all directly, without even I knowing them, or have any background of them. I think that is a mistake that people do. Don't do that. I think you can seek advice, you can make mentors. That is a very good way of building the relationship. So that means you are trusting someone to seek advice and asking for mentorship. That is a good way of engaging. But don't jump on your direct benefit on the very first day. That won't work, and that kind of maligns the whole purpose of building this relationship. And last but not the least, it is not a kind of one way traffic. Again, while you seek help from others, you should also help others. That's how the relationship builds, it strengthens, and that becomes a kind of lifelong relationship rather than a kind of very tactical or very operational kind of relationship. That I think is not a sustainable relationship. So it is very important to build your network. Network definitely helps, and in today's world it is kind of I would say very very critical. No matter at what path of your journey you are in, whether you are a student, you are a college goer, you are early in your career, you are mid career guy, or you are in kind of having a 20 plus years of experience, you never know who can help you at what time. And trust me, uh, I have experienced it. So focus on that, build on that, work on that. It will definitely help you. So guys, I think I have covered all the skills that I wanted to cover. I hope you have got some value adds from this session. My request would be to focus on some of the skills that you feel that are relevant for you. I would say that focus on all, but yeah, it would be too much at one time. So start building on that. I believe some of you already might be good at some of these skills, so that is a very good aspect, good news. So try to focus on the skills that you believe that you are lacking. uh, you can always start um your journey, no matter what path you are in. uh, it is always um, a good practice to imbibe all these skills, and trust me guys, you will see the benefit of it. You yourself can provide feedback to me. I will publish this in my LinkedIn. Any feedback, any reviews, anything that you feel that I have missed out, you can highlight. I am welcome. I will welcome your comments. This is also a learning for me, and I felt that uh, whatever learnings I have, uh, I should share it with the wider community, and so that it helps others. So it's a kind of both way helping each other. Hope you enjoyed this session, and thank you. See you again.